welcome to the announcement of the Hermits Athletics Class of 2023 Hall of Fame inductees. This is really such a monumentous occasion for Hermits Athletics every year.
Welcome everyone to this event honoring Hermits Athletics and the Hall of Fame. We are so happy you are here tonight. When I got this invitation, I had so many questions, and I thought now is the time to sort of ask those questions. Todd Davidson, you are one of the few people who was a great athlete and I don't think ever once perspired. How did you do that? You were always neat and clean. Basketball, Mark Magincalda. I saw all that you ate in high school, and I know your mom and what a great cook she is. How did you stay thin? Andrew Sullivan, do you know how proud we are of you? You were the first Olympian in the history of St. Augustine Prep, and when you carried in the flag for England, no one could have been prouder than I was watching the TV. And I know that Alou was with you, but you're the first because you carried the flag. John Etsy, I'm so glad that somebody our age has made it into the Hall of Fame. You don't know what that does for my self-confidence. Dan Flamma, thank you so much. You were the first person to visit me in the hospital when I was having my heart transplant. And I will never forget that, nor will I forget the great championship you brought to our football team, especially after a last-minute difficult decision that was made with some of the players, and you carried the team with your legs and on your back. Tom Carter and Joe April, do you realize what an international incident you created at Old St. Andrews when you teed off before the starter told you to go? And we were still allowed to play? What a great time that was, and all the trips that we took to golf and to visit schools during your time at St. Augustine Prep. Andy Kalinsky, what a great athlete you were, and so proud, even though you dated my niece, so maybe your wife doesn't know that. I'm sorry about that, but it was a pleasure to have you here at school. I see Matt Laquette all the time, and we always talk about you, and mostly it's good. Brendan McHugh, you have helped make St. Augustine Prep swimming wonderful. And you are really a model student because you started the Penn tradition for the McHugh family. And Penn and St. Augustine Prep are both enriched by having the McHughs with us. Keith Taylor, every time I think of you, and I hope you do too, do you remember Jerome? Because nobody pronounced your name as well as he did. Keith Taylor! We always loved hearing that, and it helps me remember what a great athlete you are. And lastly, my question for Ray D'Amico is, do you realize how blessed we are to have you as a coach? You brought the mission of St. Augustine Prep into the boat. In that boat was brotherhood. In that boat were champions. In that boat was the Christian gentleman. And somehow you did it with panache and grace and glory. Thank you very much for that. And lastly, I want to honor one particular person who did so much to help me. I realize I've become the face of what was a pretty good time in the history of St. Augustine Prep, but I was just the face. It was the teachers who came together as a brotherhood, and that brotherhood helped the students buy into what we were trying to do here in creating the Christian gentleman. But the brains behind the operation was Father Frank Horn. He is not only the voice of the Hermits, but also the brains of the Hermits. And Father Horn, I can't thank you enough for our fraternity, our brotherhood, our friendship, and on behalf of the entire St. Augustine Prep community, thank you for all you've done. Enjoy this evening, and I hope to be celebrating with you and remembering so many great athletes, great coaches, and great fans. Go Hermits!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Master of Ceremony for tonight's event from the class of 1982 and the chair of the Hermits Athletics Hall of Fame Committee, Mr. David Catalano.
Fantastic. Welcome, everyone, to St. Augustine Prep, as we like to say, the home of the Hermits. And back for our Hall of Fame dinner here tonight. I have to tell you, I am so pumped to be here. I am so excited about being here again tonight. Literally, last year after the event, the Hall of Fame event last year. I literally was on the phone with Riz and with Dennis and Nick and Brendan talking about this year's event. We were so happy about how it turned out last year, to bring it back, and we're just blown away by the attendance tonight. So thank you everyone for being here. I have to say that you saw in the video a little bit about us being up in the room talking about it, and we actually did that. We got so many nominations from alumni, from parents, from other coaches and all for this Athletic Hall of Fame that we literally sat there and argued back and forth. And really, there are so many people that deserve to be in this Hall of Fame, will be in this Hall of Fame at some point, but we believe that we came up with 10 exceptional athletes, one great team, a fantastic administrator, and an absolutely unbelievable head coach that goes into the 2023 Hall of Fame. So tonight is special because it unites us all as Hermits, as brothers. It weaves us through all of the years of St. Augustine. We have an inductee from the 70s, from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. And I can really feel that spirit of brotherhood here with us tonight. And again, just so excited about the event tonight. I hope everyone enjoys themselves. So let's start it off with our first induction to the 2023 Hermits Hall of Fame class.
Andrew Sullivan had so many attributes and so many adjectives that we could put to his name. But probably the best thing to say about Andrew Sullivan was that he changed the landscape of St. Augustine basketball. We went from being a very good high school team in the area to now being a statewide basketball team. And I remember the day he walked onto campus and what he looked like and how he talked and how he spoke. And I remember going home telling my wife, we now have a kid that's going to change St. Augustine basketball. And I thought it really did under him. So Andrew, on behalf of the St. Augustine entire community and the St. Augustine basketball family, congratulations. It's a heck of an honor for you.
Quickly inside, Sullivan slam dunk.
Andrew, congratulations on your induction into the Hall of Fame. It's kind of cool to be standing on this court, the cave. Congratulate you. There are so many memories that I have watching you play and playing with you. One where I was just watching, I wasn't with you, as I was sitting over there as a sophomore in the student section. The tremendous dunk that you had against St. Patrick's in this gym was that starting point for you and all the wonderful things that you did in your career at St. Augustine. Most notably, I have to say, again against St. Pat's, the game that you played for the state championship was spectacular. And then for you to go on and have a great career at Villanova and in the Olympics as well, I'm blessed to be able to say that I can call you a teammate, and I'm excited tonight for you that your induction into the Hall of Fame.
Andrew Sullivan of the class of 1999 scored 1,361 points in his three-year Hermit career and led St. Augustine Prep to the 1999 non-public B State Championship in an incredible win over St. Patrick's. In his senior season, he averaged 19.8 points per game and was named First Team All-State, as well as being voted South Jersey's Player of the Year. After graduation, Andrew continued his Augustinian education at Villanova University, where he was known for his tenacious defense, but also scored 423 career points. He then launched a 13-year professional career in Europe, where he earned the British Basketball League MVP in 2006 and 2013. Additionally, Andrew was selected as a member and captain of Great Britain's Olympic basketball team in the 2012 London Olympics. Although he was not able to be with us in Richland tonight, as he is home in Great Britain, please enjoy a message from Andrew Sullivan.
Hey everyone, first of all, I'd like to apologise for not being there. I really wish I could have been, but unfortunately it wasn't possible. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been involved with me at St. Augustine, my teammates, the coaching staff and their families, Coach Ike, Coach Cat, Coach Riz, Coach Rodeo, the list goes on. And then obviously all the families that took care of me while I was there, the Ruskis, the Pippets, Mr. Green and his family, and then obviously all my teammates. You guys are like brothers to me, and I know for a fact that this wouldn't be possible if I didn't have such great teammates and guys who believed in my abilities while I was there. It's been, I don't even want to take a guess on how many years it's been since I graduated. I was never great at the math, but even now I still speak to some of the guys there who I played with. Unfortunately I've not been able to be back in many years, but that's definitely on the to-do list. Again, I just want to say it's a massive honour, but more importantly, it was my privilege to be able to represent St. Augustine, whether it be on or off the court, and I'm still a massive Hermit deep down. Thank you.
I was lucky enough to literally have a front row seat in watching Andrew's greatness, and Coach Rodeo is 100% correct in what he did to change our program. I remember the day we had seen Andrew play at the Williamstown camps in Williamstown, and Coach Rodeo called me and gave me a phone number, and he said, "This is the number for a woman named Eunice Sullivan, and you need to call her in London and ask her if she would mind sending her son over to play high school basketball and attend St. Augustine Prep." And I know that because I literally still have the note of her phone number, because as my wife knows, I'm a little bit of a hoarder and I keep things like that. And I have that from the beginning of his career, but I also have the bench pass from that state championship game and that win. So from the front end of his career to the end of his career, just an amazing thing to see Andrew, and I'm so happy that he's here. But Andrew mentioned some of the people, the mentors and the teachers and the coaches and families that are part of this St. Augustine community. They made lasting impressions on all of us and helped shape who we are as a Hermit Brotherhood. Many of those people are certainly here tonight, but there is one that I do need to call out. It's someone that we all know of as a founding faculty member, a counselor, a coach, an athletic director, a mentor, and the consummate Christian gentleman, Mr. Anthony Spina. Mr. Spina, thank you so much for being with us again this year. Thank you for everything that you've done for all of us here at St. Augustine. The school would not be what it is without the personal and institutional support of past presidents and heads of school, Father Steve LaRosa, Father Paul Deletto, who I hope and know will be here a little bit later on, and Father Don Riley. And the present head of school clearly recognizes the importance and the value of athletics and the role of education. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the head of St. Augustine Prep, Father Robert Murray.
David, thank you very much for that nice introduction. On behalf of the Augustinians and the faculty and staff at St. Augustine Prep, I would like to formally welcome everyone, especially those inductees that we celebrate this evening. out to those people who traveled quite a distance to be here and sacrificed to be here, so we very much appreciate your time. Please know you're always, always welcome on this campus. It is your home, and I hope you feel that way. It's not a good idea for somebody standing in my position right now to make a general statement, but please allow me to do so. I would think that many people, especially if you haven't been on this campus in a while, found yourself saying, boy, has this school changed since I've been here. And it has. It has changed. It's still 117 acres. But allow me to give you some numbers. This 117 acres is the home to 630 students at this time. We celebrate 23 sports, and over 80% of our students play at least one sport. Many of them play more than that. The education that they receive is top quality because of the dedication that we have from our teachers and staff. Everybody on this campus is really an exceptional person. What doesn't change is the following. What hasn't changed is the brotherhood that is palpable each day. And I don't know how many times I hear from a stranger on this campus, there's something different about the school. I hear that all the time, and I do believe it has to do with the brotherhood and the Augustinian framework behind it. What doesn't change is the attention given, the individual attention given to students, but always within a community setting. What doesn't change is the quality of the graduate as he is prepared for further education and also in the world in which his called to serve. Tonight, we come together around those who are being inducted in the Hall of Fame, and we need to be here. But let's also remember how they got here. These are young men, when they arrived, who recognized the talent that they had, that God gave them. And they were open to receiving the coaching of others, and they were willing to be coached in a community setting. They recognized their gifts, open to coaching in a community. A nice way to define an Augustinian education. Tonight, we congratulate you, and we thank you for being what it is the school is trying to intend, trying to form. But also, we have to realize it's in the losses and the wins that you've been formed. And that ultimately is part of your education. I'd like to also add another generalization. How many times tonight have you already be quiet, Barry. Okay. How many times have we heard people say, do you remember the time? Do you remember the time when we did this? Do you remember the time we did that? Very understandable expression tonight. Well, I'd like to believe that tonight St. Augustine Prep is saying to the inductees, we remember the time that you were here on this campus, that you opened yourself to what the school is about. And because of you, we are the greater for it. And for that, we give you thanks. At this time, I ask you to join me as we ask God's blessing upon our evening in prayer. And also to draw your attention to the screen as we remember those Hermits brothers that have gone before us and now live in the presence of God. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Almighty God, we thank you for this opportunity to gather this evening and to celebrate the induction of new members in the Hermits Athletics Hall of Fame. We recognize their dedication, their hard work, their excellence in their sport, and we are grateful for the inspiration that they provide for each one of us, especially those who follow in their footsteps. We ask for your blessing upon our inductees, also their families and loved ones, as they celebrate this well-deserved honor this evening. May they continue to use their talents and their abilities to make a positive impact in our world, and may they always remain humble and grateful for the opportunities that they've been given. We ask your loving presence upon our Hermit brothers who have gone before us and who now live in your presence. May the peace that they now know might be shared by their family and friends. And finally, Lord, we ask that your guidance and wisdom be extended to all as choose to support all athletes at our school. We thank you for the many blessings you bestowed upon us. May we always use these blessings to bring our world closer to you. And I ask all Hermits to join me at this time, for you have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you. St. Augustine, pray for us. Congratulations.
Thank you, Father Murray. So just a little bit before we get to our next inductee about the flow of tonight's evening and the event. It is very informal. Please feel free to get up. There's plenty of food, there's drink, there's all. Take your time, get around and do that. A little later in the evening, about halfway through, we will take about a 15-minute break so everyone can get up and get some food. But please, it's very informal and do that. We'll also ask that any of the recipients tonight that are receiving one of the honors or into the Hall of Fame come up at the very end, where we're going to do all the pictures at the very end of the evening. So as we all know, at St. Augustine Prep, it's more than just the players and the coaches. When you play the Hermits, you're taking on all of us. You're taking on the teachers, the administration, the parents, the alumni, and of course our infamous Richland Rowdies. There is nothing better than being on campus to see our teams compete. But when you can't be here to watch our teams play, the administration has done a fantastic job of bringing those Hermit memories into our homes. 5 years ago, they launched the Hermit Broadcast Channel, which is a student-run organization that broadcasts all of our home athletic events. And I've been fortunate enough to work with the guys on the basketball program for the last few years, and if anybody has caught any of our games, I worked with two guys the last few years, Jimmy Bachman and Jose Hernandez, who just did an absolutely awesome job. I mean, they're great at it, and I had such a good time doing it with them. As a matter of fact, one of my former partners on the broadcast, Patrick Boyle from the class of 2021, he's here tonight. He was one of the founding people on that Hermits Broadcast Channel. It's a great thing. It is a great thing, and it brings that Hermit spirit to a lot of us, a lot of people that can't be close by. It calls from people all the time that watch our games from all over the country. So if you haven't seen it, please check it out. They are taping tonight's event, and in the next couple of days, you'll be able to go on our YouTube channel and see that. So please take a look at the HBC. And all of that, by the way, is run by our administration and our assistant athletic director, Tom Brumell. So thank you, Tom, for that. And now let's move to our next inductee.
Long before we had the Richland Rowdies, we had the Hamilton Hermits. And nobody personified that group more than John Etsy. Back in 1973, I guess it was, 50 years ago, he set a standard that everybody after him had to follow. John was the catalyst of us going from average athletes to outstanding athletes. He played baseball in the spring, and he loved baseball. He played basketball all winter, and he ran cross country. Right? His motivation inspired John inspired the runners after him the very next year to win the first state championship for St. Augustine Prep. And John's enthusiasm just carried through to every other athlete in this school. It's a long time coming, but I'm so proud and really thrilled to be able to still be here and to welcome John Etsy into the Hermit Hall of Fame.
John Etsy of the class of 1973 established himself as the best overall athlete in his class, as he lettered in cross country, basketball, and baseball for all 4 years of his high school. John was a starting catcher for all 4 years and named All-Atlantic County his junior and senior years. While in the years to come, you will see many more multi-sport athletes join the St. Augustine Hall of Fame. John will be the first. He went on to share his passion for sports as a youth baseball coach and a long-time umpire. And yes, somehow he managed to get through a season of coaching freshman basketball gentlemen, representing the class of 1973, please welcome Mr. John Etsy.
Thank you all for coming and remembering. I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for tonight and having me in this great group of people. To Paul Romeo, thank you for remembering my brother Tom. Thanks, Tom. You did a lot, and I love you for it. Thank you so much. My classmates and fellow athletes, we talked about it earlier. We never had issue all 4 years that I can think of. We always were friends of each other and enjoyed each other's moments and times in sports and in the classroom. So I'm very happy to have gone through 4 years here, and today I appreciate it more than ever. So thank you so much for remembering my family's here tonight and friends, which are also involved in baseball. Thank you so much.
I remember Keith coming to us as a junior and really making an impact on the team right away.
Keith, I really believe you help us make history. I don't know if this is fact, but to my knowledge, no team with only 4 or 5 years under its belt, a new team, you might say, ever won 2 state championships in that short period of time.
He's one of the pillars that actually started the program way back in the 80s and basically gives us the foundation that basically leads us to today, where we have 4 state place winners and a state champ this year. If it's not for people like Keith, it really doesn't happen.
Now Keith, I know you didn't do it on your own. I also thank and credit your parents who were instrumental with your success. Through their love, support, and encouragement, they kept you going. But you were the guy that followed through.
Keith Taylor of the class of 1986 won the 108-pound District 32 championship in 1985 and the 115-pound District championship in 1986. He was also the 115-pound regional champion in 1986. Following his transfer to the Prep in the fall of 1984, Keith helped bolster a lineup that also included Hall of Famers Bobby Malatesta, Billy Ward, and Dan Fabry, and was led by Hall of Fame coach Bob Malatesta. That group led the Hermits to their 2nd state title in 1985. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the class of 1986 in the sport of wrestling, please welcome Keith Taylor.
Everyone for the nomination. It's an honor to be a part of the Forever Hermits sports programs. And also thanks to parents, family, coaches for the time and dedication they put into me to be where I am today. And I just thank you all for having me here. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Hi there. I think today is a great day for me. I get to introduce two of my best golfers ever to get inducted into the Hall of Fame here at this St. Augustine Prep, one being Joey April and the other one being Tommy Carter. It was just such a pleasure to coach both of those two young men back in the day. Perhaps probably the best golf team I've ever had or ever had here in the school. For the 4 years that they played for me, they were tremendous golfers, won every match they ever played in. We actually had an 80-match win streak when they were both here. We won the Cape Atlantic League all 4 years. We won the South Jersey State Championship all 4 years, and we actually had 3 state championships with both of them here. Their combined record, they only lost 1 match in the whole 4 years that they've been here, or that they were here when they played golf for me. I just want to thank everybody here for inviting me for this beautiful night here for the Hall of Fame. Special thanks goes to Tommy Carter and Joey April, and congratulations on both of them, and I wish them nothing but the best.
It is unusual to induct 2 teammates together. However, Tom Carter and Joe April were not 2 usual teammates. In the early 2000s, they were the leaders of some of the most dominant golf teams in New Jersey history. Their teams won 81 dual matches in a row. They were first team Cape Atlantic League All-Stars and led the Hermits to 2 state championships, one at Rumson Country Club, the other at Burlington Country Club. They led a Hermits team that defeated rival Mainland in the Cal Championship in 2002 by a single stroke, then later tied them in the Tournament of Champions. Both Tom and Joe continued their athletic and academic careers at Drexel University and remained good friends and golf partners. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the sport of golf, please welcome Tom Carter and Joe April.
I'd like to just say a few words in addition to what Tom said. Just looking back, I mean, it's been 20 years since Tom and I graduated, and it just goes to show the brotherhood. I mean, Tom and I have been best friends for that long. We still play a ton of golf together, so it's been just amazing that kind of what St. Augustine Prep really means as an establishment, and the brotherhood is incredible. I actually had an opportunity to play with Drew Nicholas, who's one of the finest prep golfers as well. He graduated a few years ago, and just an unbelievable young man. I'm sure he'll be inducted in the Hall of Fame. It just goes to show, 20 years later, still being able to connect and meet new fellow Hermits. And as Tom said, just really thanks to our parents and friends for being here, and Coach Lynn Dolson was just a great coach for us and a great 4 years, and
113 members into the Hall of Fame, which includes 47 athletes, 5 coaches, 5 teams. There are 14 men who did not graduate from St. Augustine but made an impact on our athletics that are inducted in as Hermit Pride inductees, and there are 41 men who are in our cultural Hall of Fame of St. Augustine Prep. Many of those men are here tonight, and if you are one, I would like you to stand up now so we can recognize all of them. All of our Hall of Fame members, please stand up. So, when all of the men that are on that list and that are here are very deserving of being in our Hall of Fame. But you know, sometimes there are different levels of Hall of Famers. When you get inducted in, obviously if you're inducted in as a player, your career is long over. And most of the times when our coaches are inducted in, they have also retired and their career is over. But there's one person on that list who just continues to show us the way of what it means to be a Hall of Famer. Even though he was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 1999, he continues to do the job that he was recognized for year in and year out. And when you're in a room full of coaches, and you're the one that everyone calls coach, well, you know that's a sign of respect. And we have that with our legendary Hall of Fame coach, Paul Rodeo. And it seems like every year, Coach Rodeo gives us something to celebrate, whether it's another milestone win, becoming the all-time victories leader, but he did it again this year. On January 10th, with a win over rival Ocean City, Coach won his almost unthinkable 1,000th game. Now, many of you have seen this next video that we'd like to show right now, commemorating that milestone. But we believe it's worthy of another watch. And when you watch it, take special notice to the bottom left-hand corner, because there you'll see a corresponding number of the specific game and win number that was and the date the game was played. So imagine the number of hours of research to include that level of detail. Now that video and that work was put in a compilation, was done of the work of a present Hermit senior, Vincent Campanera. And Vincent is here tonight. Of course, he's capturing on video, of course. So please let me express your gratitude for Vincent for his special gift. Coach Rodeo.
My friend,
say after that. I have a lot of thank yous. I'll be quick, but I have to thank a lot of people. First of all, I want to thank Dennis Foreman and Nikki Senna for recognizing me this evening. Seems like I've been going through this now for the last couple of weeks, and it's a great honor. And for you to do it publicly, I appreciate it. So thank you very much. I want to thank my family, Bonnie, the kids, and everybody that have been behind me the whole time. The amount of hours and things that we put in, and just having the support. I'm sorry. I have a special thanks, and listen, this place has been special, in so many ways. But I have to thank the Augustinians. Father Steve gave me a chance when I was a kid. I didn't realize how young I really was until about 5-6 years ago when I started. And at my 900th win, I was in a locker room talking to the kids, and somebody came to the door and said, 4 or 5 of your guys that were on your first team are here tonight. I want to thank you and congratulate you. I said, no problem. They came in, gave me a big hug, Bobby Orlandini, Tommy Baruffi, guys like that I had seen Chris Lirio. And they came in and shook my hand. I said, hey, thanks, Bump. And at the time, I was like 66 years old. And they said, you know, we're all 60 years old. I was only 6 years older than those guys when I coached them in the middle 70s. So having done this, if it wasn't for Father La Rosa and what he did to help me out, I would never be standing up here tonight. I want to thank Father Paul publicly. I don't think he's here yet. He took over after that and just did a great job in maintaining the mentality of academics and athletics and giving us the opportunity to expand the way we did. His idea of expansion, you're sitting in right here. So thank you, Father Paul. Father Wiley took over, was only here a short time, but he made his presence known right from the beginning. I thought he did a great job in coordinating the same thing, athletics and academics. And Father Murray, who's here now, is doing the same thing. So I appreciate everything from the Augustinians, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for the commitment they have made to St. Augustine Prep. My many assistants, if I had to list all my assistants over the years, I'd be here until tomorrow morning. So I can't do that, but I want to mention a couple. I think sitting out here, some of the guys have coached with me in the past. Tommy Etsy and Johnny Etsy, Mr. Foreman, who's sitting out here, and Kevin Burke are all guys that I know for sure that worked with me. But Tommy, Tommy Adnazzi, one of the comes tonight, has some family issues and couldn't be here. But I want to thank especially Ike, Kat, and Riz. They're probably responsible for 800 or 900 of those men. Thank you. Thank you, players. I've had some great players. All you have to do is watch some of those dunks, and you have to be sitting up there saying, well, you can't be that good of a coach. That was easy. Because I've been lucky over my years, and I've had some great players and great kids. So I want to thank them, all the players I've had. My many friends, I've had thousands of people that have been related. I want to mention Ed Perugini. Thank you very much, Ed. The colleagues that I've had here at the Prep have been an inspiration to me. Teachers, administrators, friends, etc., that I've worked with every day are part of the reason why this becomes special to me. I've been very lucky. A guy like Mr. Steiner,
was my teacher when I went here. I was afraid of him then, I was afraid of him when I worked with him. I'm sitting having dinner, I'm still afraid of him. But I had this special opportunity that most people don't have. I went to school with Mr. Spina, and then I worked with Mr. Spina for 25 years. I can't tell you how many times he said to me, listen, don't call me Mr. Spina. I didn't know what else to say, so as soon as he got done, I said, thank you, Mr. Spina. But he's that kind of a guy. But I had the opportunity. These are people that were all committed to St. Augustine Prep, and I learned from them. So I want to thank my colleagues and all the people that I worked with over the years. Another person, a couple people, Ray D'Amico, who's going to be honored later tonight. I've had the opportunity. Ray has come to me numerous times, congratulating me and asking me for advice on other things. Great people, surrounding themselves with great people, and I'm just so happy to be able to have worked with them. It means a lot to me to think of one point. All of these people that are being mentioned tonight, everybody that's been up here, are committed to young kids. Our job, my job, every day, is to try to make that kid a little bit better. Nothing made me feel better when I received the accolades that I received in the last couple of weeks. That when people said, you don't know how many lives you've really touched. You don't know how many kids have said they were touched by what you said or what you did. That's what teachers are supposed to do. I'm going to end with one thing, if you would do me a favor. Anyone in this room who has ever taught or coached, please stand up and give them a round of applause. Please stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my family, thank you very much for tonight, and Vince Campanaro for what he did for me on this video. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Coach. Later this evening, we will be inducting Coach Ray D'Amico into our Hall of Fame, and he will be the 6th coach to receive this honor. But the committee has decided that beginning with Ray this year, and for all coaches moving forward, the Hall of Fame coach inductee will be the recipient of the Paul A. Rodeo Excellence in Coaching Award. And speaking of excellence, when we do things here at St. Augustine, we do it right, and we always eat well. Thank you to Vinnie Birdie, our own chef of the class of 1995, and his tremendous staff for this spread that they put out for us here tonight. Also want to thank longtime faculty member Joe Carmichael and Darnell Laws from the class of 2010 who are actually as bartenders. And right now, we'd like for you to take, we're going to take about a 15-minute break for you to enjoy more of that food, more of that drink, and then we'll be back with more inductees in about 15 minutes. Enjoy, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Master of Ceremony, Mr. David Catalan.
Hope everyone enjoyed that little brief interlude and getting great food for our chef Vinnie Birdie and staff. You know, as I said, when we do things here at St. Augustine, we really do it right. And if you look at how we've transformed this gymnasium when it's normally a mecca for basketball, and we can transform it into just about anything. And most of that, the lighting, the sound, everything here is really made possible through the incredible generosity and good work of the Maduri family and their professional staff from NMR events. So I want to thank them for all they're doing for us here at St. Augustine on our events. And then I also have to make a couple other quick shout-outs to people who have helped us put this all together. All the work that you see behind you, the video work, all of that, is from the mind of Manny Bajamko. So Manny, thank you for everything that you do for this event as well. And of course, everyone in the advancement staff, Nick Simmons group, led by Dennis Foreman, and a special shout out to Maria Enos for all the work that you did putting this event together for us. And lastly, as we look at our past, we also look at our present and our future. I want to thank all the Hermit ambassadors. The Brotherhood is alive and well with these young men over here helping us tonight in that familiar blazer, doing similar work and helping us out tonight. So thank you to the current Hermit students. And now let me introduce to you, as I talked about him last year, I think the hardest working man in South Jersey sports, our incredible athletic director, Mr. Michael Rizzo.
Great song, great song. A lot of you don't realize the symbolism. Mr. Foreman's trying to be funny. For all of you that there's been bets all week on how much I'm going to cry versus Coach Rodeo versus others, anyone who bet me is going to win a lot of money. I'm a mess just sitting over there, so bear with me. As I look around, first of all, congratulations to all of the inductees this year. I'm lucky enough to be around long enough to know many of you in different connections. Some I've coached, others I've cheered you all on at some point. Mark Magicala was like my little 6'5" big brother, 6'5" little brother. His brother John was one of my closest friends in school. So it's really great to be here and sharing the evening with you. So congratulations. It's certainly an incredible collection of deserving men that have helped create the foundation of excellence for which we continue to build on year after year. I've had the personal privilege to watch them compete at the highest level and walk beside them in the hollow balls. Coach some, but I'm most proud to be considered your friend. You've all added to the love in me for our great institution, and I thank you for that inspiration through many of the years. Our inductees represent every decade our institution's existence, but I promise you that your legacy lives on every day. You have paved the way, and we are passionately proud of the life lessons learned in sports like discipline, honor, work ethic, and teamwork, and I see it achieved every day on and off our respective playing fields. Like Father Murray mentioned, it might be a little bit different than when you were here. We're up to 23 passionate sports. 85% or more of our students participate year in, year out. And even those that now that are not in a sport are involved in HBC, broadcasting the events. And our 74 men and women coaching are preaching every day about how our students represent more than just themselves, more than their families. They represent you, our inductees, and the many alum that are here to celebrate you and your accomplishments. They represent the people that have come before them, and they are expected to do it the right way. And they really are accomplishing it, so you be proud. Certainly are achieving that goal and many others. We thank you for your support and the support of many that couldn't be here tonight with us. We are currently ranked #1 best athletic program across the board in South Jersey and 6th best in the state of New Jersey. We have certainly come a long way from the small school in the woods of Richland playing Division I sports next year. The national average is 1.6%. In May, we celebrate every student athlete that is going to take their skills to the next level, whether it's Division I, 2, or 3. I think that total is up to 40. I think it's up to 40 right now, and we still haven't gotten to the spring. Hopefully you're following us intently on Instagram and Twitter through Hermits Athletics. Coach Roddy, that's social media. And if you haven't found, I know that David's touched on YouTube and the Hermit Broadcasting Channel, our student-driven live streaming, covering as many home athletic events as we possibly can. We've made some progress this past year where we started to branch out and be able to cover some of our home events that are not on campus. The guinea pig was with hockey, and hopefully this year we're going to add crew to our long list of events to cover. It took a little bit, Wi-Fi issues, but it's incredible how smart the kids are and how ambitious they are to make it better every day. I know I like to kid with Coach Roddy, and I kid with him every day. It's actually one of the best things that I love about working here every day. If I can get him to chuckle, it's actually fun. If I get him to really burst out and laugh, it's even better for me inside. I know he's done that for myself when I was walking the halls, and many of you guys here, and that's why, or one of the reasons why we love him so much. But he was the first. He convinced our school that we had the ability to overachieve, to strive to become the best in the state in all of our sports. And now it's the expectation. So thank you for showing us the way, Coach. And in the last 12 months, our student athletes and coaches haven't disappointed us. So since the last time I stood up here last year, speaking of hopeful spring sports and hopefully some aspirations that we were going to attain, we added 5 state titles to the wall behind you. That's our total. That brings our total up to 58. It's been an incredible year. Our spring of 22 was one to remember, with our rugby 15s capturing another title in fine fashion on the backs of a strong senior class. Baseball won their unprecedented 6th straight South Jersey championship. No one's ever done that in the state's history. Our crew program, Varsity 8 and Team Trophy, won at Atlantic Counties impressively, and followed up by taking silver at the states. But we still had one team practicing into June. And for those of you that are not on campus at that time, early June, we have 3rd semester program where Hermits are all over the world at that time. And it's pretty impressive when you look outside. As busy as our campus is, 365 days a year, there was still one team practice. I told you. Sorry. I blame Coach. He told me years ago, when you're passionate about something, it brings emotion out of you. I passed you on the worst. You used to be bad. I'm the worst. Lacrosse was still practicing. They achieved the ultimate. Coach Valori and his entire community won their first lacrosse state championship in the state's toughest division. It was a special moment for our community, and I've been lucky enough to have a chance to watch many of our great athletic moments over the years. But this one felt just a little bit different. The school-wide community has shown great support during and after these accomplishments. But to witness the 20-year collection of kicked off the fall with an extremely successful first annual Hermits Athletics golf outing. Heavily attended, incredibly supported by many generous sponsors. Pinelands Golf Course, it's up the road here in Folsom. We're great hosts, and as always, Divine Intervention tends to give us the best of summer days or fall days. It's a beautiful day. As Mr. Foreman says, it never rains in Richmond. Well, that day went up the road a little bit, so it worked out. Football and soccer teams had great seasons respectively. Crew took home the South Jersey Indoor Championship, and Rugby Sevens grabbed their state title for I don't even know how many times, Brendan, 5 times. Just dominant in the fall. Started out to be like a small, it was an opportunity for kids to learn about rugby, and now you can't be beat in the state. They all provided us a great intro to arguably the most decorated winter season we've ever had. As mentioned before, we celebrated Coach Rodeo's special 1,000 victory plateau, a number likely never to be eclipsed. But I'm always amazed by a little bit a different number. He only has 260 losses in those 45 years. As a coach, you forget about the wins pretty quickly, but the losses stay with you kind of forever. And I'm sure Coach would agree, but that's the most astonishing number to me. So congratulations again, Coach, from the athletic club. Our swim program showed promise in the early season, but as the wins started to pile up, their expectations started to grow, and they achieved a unique distinction of an undefeated season. They collected the program's 7th state championship in dramatic and exciting fashion. Came down to the last event, and our relay team wasn't going to be denied. All I can tell you is I'm officially rooting for blowouts now. I mean, I can't take it anymore. I used to have hair and talk, that's gone. But the last leg of the last relay, Trevor Nolan just blew one of the best swimmers in the state away, and it wasn't even close. At that same time, while that was going on, our wrestlers were competing in individual states, and they were setting school records. We sent 10 to regions, including 8 district champions, both school records. Then we sent 7 to states, 7 to regions. No, I'm sorry, I apologize. Then we sent 7 to states, 5 regional champions, both school records. Then once the 7 got to states, they mowed down everyone. We had 5 end up on the podium, a school record. All culminating with Richie Grungo, one of our team captains and leaders. He was seated 4th in one of the toughest weight classes, 144. I don't remember being 140. I think I came out 144 pounds. Richie then pinned the number 1 seed in the first period, and then he upset the 2 seed in a dramatic overtime victory to become our 3rd individual state champion of all time. It was a great day. I get choked up thinking of his parents. They've been very generous, big supporters of our school from the very beginning. And I remember he pulled me aside, and he just said to me, I knew this was going to happen. So in the moment, I wish you would have told me earlier. I would have been worked up about it. But it was certainly incredible to be there at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. It was packed. And for him to achieve the ultimate for an individual wrestler. Just 2 days later, and a couple more blood pressure pills, our hockey team, led by our rookie coach, he's an alum, Roman Emirado, completed the most improbable run in state's history. He won the state championship. They won the state championship. The Hermits upset the number 2 team at their rink. Then went on to beat the number 3 team at a not so neutral site way up in North Jersey, and then finished off by beating the number 1 team at the Prudential Center. The team brought back NJ.com Team of the Year and Coach of the Year honors. And his staff is something that no school's ever done. The 7th seed has never won a state championship. Unfortunately, Father, our championship ring budget was significantly underestimated. We'll get the bill later. But I can't wait to see what spring brings. Lacrosse hopefully back-to-back. Rugby's off to a great start, beating our arch rival CBA last night to start their season. And they certainly better have, since they tuned up for 9 days in Ireland. I don't know what rugby team does that or recently, but St. Augustine does. Baseball's in Myrtle Beach currently, getting ready for their season. And last week, Crew Varsity 8, their second 8, took first at our start-off Manny Flick. We're really coming off our first full winter workout season for Rome, so really excited about what they're going to do. They're progressing drastically every day. A real quick shout out to our alumni boat winning the first national championship in 5:47, only 2 seconds off the record. Incredible, guys. I don't even like walking by the earth. Awesome. You guys are still getting it done. And be on the lookout this year to our golf team is going to probably do some special things, and we're led by Junior Pat O'Hara, which I hate to say, Joe and Tom, enjoy the evening, get a couple more shrimp, because this kid might end up being better than everyone that's ever gone through here. He's that special. And you know, Nichols was a great golfer. This kid's pretty special. Last year, as a sophomore, he dominated the South Jersey event. He was the only athlete in South Jersey to finish under par. So I think he's got some high aspirations this year. Yeah. In case you haven't figured it out yet, I have the greatest job in the history of high school sports. I get to passionately watch your sons, our alum, achieve great things. I feel blessed every time I'm around all of you. I'm really not worthy, but I would do this job for nothing. Just don't tell Father, because he might take you up on that, and it's one less salary. I hope I get to see all on campus real soon, hopefully at a sporting event. And it gives me great pleasure to cue the next inductees video to our Hermit Pride Award recipient, Father Francis Horn. But real quick, a little blurb for Father Horn. I have a special relationship with Father Horn. I got an opportunity to work with him when he was here when I first started. And to say that he was on my back day in and day out about one thing, I have to mention it. I was called to his office more often than I can count about our athletes leaving doors ajar. And it bothered him. And it bothered him so much that he must have watched security film every day for 8 hours, because he never missed it. And in just want you to know, Father, please know that we have yet to fix this issue. It is still happening. I get yelled at a little bit less because you're not walking the videos. But I just want you to know that we haven't gotten there yet. We're still working on it. But I'll never forget that. So, without further ado, hit it, man.
Father Horn, I wanted to congratulate you, but I have to refer to you as the initial voice of the Hermits. What a great job you did working with St. Augustine and helping our entire athletic department get better and better and better under you.
When you have a headmaster who is also a canon lawyer and one of the brightest and most sincere individuals you would ever have the opportunity to work for, who also understood the importance of the athletic culture at St. Augustine Prep.
It was a pleasure working for you and working with you. And I know this is an honor that you will treasure for the rest of your life. You made an impact, not just on a lot of players and kids here, but you made an impact on the entire St. Augustine community. And on behalf of this basketball community, we want to say thank you very much for what you've done.
His devotion to all the students, and especially to the athletes at St. Augustine Prep, certainly make him deserving of entry into the Prep Hall of Fame.
Upon his arrival at the Prep in the fall of 2004, Father Horn immersed himself in Hermits Athletics. He served as the original voice of the Hermits in the sports of football and basketball until 2012, paving the way for our present voice of the Hermits, Willie Morris from the class of 2000. Father Horn's unique commentary was sometimes even accidentally caught on a hot mic. During his years at the Prep, he could be seen at nearly all sporting events, and his ardent support of Hermits Athletics helped create many of the traditions that are in place today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Hermit Pride Hall of Fame inductee, Father Francis Horn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to St. Augustine Prep, home of the Hermits. Feels so good to say those words once again here in Rodeo Gym. After almost 9 years since my graduation, when I received an honorary diploma with the class of 2014. During my years at the Prep, I had the privilege of announcing almost every home football and basketball game, as well as the thrill of being on the bench, sideline, the pool deck, the riverside, and in the dugout, and in the stands for so many exciting athletic events here at the Prep. Now, Wakeridge as well. The Prep had many outstanding athletes and some great teams during that era. And there were numerous league and state championships that we celebrated. But win or lose, I was always very proud of our Hermit student athletes. They represented the Prep so well. And they modeled the virtues of the brotherhood that they share. We're supposed to. I am deeply grateful to the Hall of Fame
So a few more things as I see there. Dessert is being passed around to the tables for the staff. Coffee is in the back. And I also believe, I think I saw Father Paul Galetta walk in here somewhere, and I'm sure he's around here somewhere. He's back in the back. And I'm sure everyone will find him at some point in the evening. I do want to also call out a couple of things. I know we mentioned Coach Rodeo asked coaches to stand up, and obviously Coach Rodeo is here, Coach Nico is here. I know Coach Billy Ward is here. I think that of our staff are some of the assistants like Coach Iconelli, Coach Laws, and the football team are here. But great job that our coach is doing, and not to pick on my good friend Mr. Rizzo on his speech here, but I think he undersold something a little bit, and so I'm going to pick that up. You know, last year at this event, right after this event was concluded, we found ourselves in need of a new hockey coach. It wasn't something that was expected, but it was something that happened. And a lot of applications came in. And Mr. Rizzo and the staff looked around and they had some great applications, but often what you do is you turn right back to where you're comfortable and what you know. And we had an alum who was a great player, who went on to play in college and to play professionally, and then returned home to his St. Augustine roots to help coach the lower levels, and he had applied for the job. And Coach Riz mentioned it, but let me accentuate something. In his first year as the Hermits head coach, he took a team to a state title. They were the New Jersey State Team of the Year, and he was announced as the New Jersey State Coach of the Year in hockey. Roman Amarato. Roman, stand up. You want to talk about a tough bar to set, which you did. Congratulations, Roman. And now on to our next inducted.
My name is Blake Trabucki Downey, and I had the privilege of swimming with Brendan for our 4 years here at the Prep. Brendan was by far the most successful swimmer to come through Prep's program, and one of the most successful male swimmers to come out of South Jersey. The one thing that always stuck with me about Brendan was his ability to win and his desire to race. It didn't matter who he was up against or what event he was in. Brendan always had that feeling that he was going to win.
Brendan McHugh is a very talented swimmer. I had the pleasure of coaching him my first 2 years here. That would be his junior and senior year. He was the type of kid that everybody looked up to, looked for inspiration. He loved to compete. He always gave 100% on everything he did.
Brendan and I shared 3 team state titles and a few relay state titles. Brendan was a good teammate, but he was a better friend. Congratulations, Brendan, for all that you've accomplished. I know how hard you worked to get where you are, and I couldn't be more proud. Congratulations.
And it's because of people like Brendan that allowed for the success of this program for so many years. He definitely deserves this honor, and congratulations.
Brendan McHugh of the class of 2008 was a dominant swimmer and fierce competitor, and was at the core of multiple state championship teams at the Prep. A 3-time League of Champions winner in the 100-yard breaststroke, Brendan continued his career at the University of Pennsylvania, where he set 16 school records, individual and relay, and won 2 Ivy League championships. He competed in the 2015 FINA World Championships in Kazan, Russia, and made the final of the 2016 U.S. Olympic Trials in the 200-meter breaststroke. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the class of 2008 in the sport of swimming, please welcome Brendan McHugh.
Picking the music in the next decades for the inductees. But, sorry, this is a little short. So, first, just want to say good evening to everyone. I'm very honored to be standing here achievements are a testament to your hard work, dedication, and passion that you brought to your respective crafts, and I'm honored to be included among you. Second, I would like to thank. While I'm proud of my individual accomplishments, I know that none of that would have been possible without the support and encouragement of many others. Thank you to my mother and father for encouraging me to attend St. Augustine and for supporting me as I pursue my dreams. As a very new parent, I appreciate it more than ever. I am eternally grateful for your sacrifice to always tilt the scales in my favor. Thank you to my mother for showing me what it means to be great. As you may or may not know, my father lost his battle with cancer when I was a student at St. Augustine. Among a million other things, my mother with 5 children showed me what it meant to never quit, to be truly altruistic, and to not be afraid to defy conventional wisdom. I owe a debt of gratitude that can never fully repay. Thank you to my brothers and sisters for being my best friends, and sometimes my teammates and training partners. I'm sure that many others in the audience first learned to compete with their siblings at a very early age, and perhaps still compete with them. If you don't know what I'm referring to, I got nothing for you. I was lucky enough to call some of my high school, college, and post-college teammates. Thank you to the teachers and other members of the prep community. You've had a profound impact on me. As I stand here today, it is clear to me that I draw upon the lessons learned here every day. The lessons came from many people, many of whom have spoken today, including, Coach Rodeo, Riz, plenty of people, and most importantly for me, Father Paul. That's just to name a few. But the lessons include the value of support, how to obtain skills and make sacrifices to obtain skills, to excel at the highest level of whatever it is you can do or choose to do, how to inspire others, and how to be a good man. Thank you to my coaches, both at St. Augustine and beyond. To name a few, Ryan Sprang, Matt Sprang, and John Stinson, you just saw on the board. Thank you for believing in me, pushing me to be my best, and more importantly, always being there when I need you most. Never relinquish the passion and energy that you brought to the pool deck each and every day that enabled your swimmers to flourish. Often, it is all that kids like me need to flourish into much more than they ever thought they could do. Speaking of flourishing, thank you to my teammates. There's too many of them to name, but Mike Joyce, Rich O'Neill, who's here to support me, my brother Dylan, plenty of others. I can't do the list justice. Many others who aren't here tonight. Some of the happiest moments of my life come from the thrill of competition and the camaraderie with you all. I treasure the memories and your friendship the most. I will never forget drinking my first and second, third, fourth, and so on beers in Matt Kleiner's basement after winning the state championship my freshman year. I cherish winning 2 more state championships with you as a junior and senior. And as strange as it is to say, I cherish our loss, our sole loss in 4 years, I might add, in the state championship my sophomore year. We came up short, but we came together, picked each other up, and were gracious in defeat. I'll always cherish that aspect of brotherhood. And, as you know, time heals all wounds. I also would not have experienced a fraction of my personal success if it wasn't for you all. With all the drive in the world, you still need gas. You guys want more gas. Finally, thank you to my wife. Although I didn't know Maddie in high school, she just always says thank you. So I'll wrap this speech up by reading an excerpt from my favorite poem. Before I start, however, I'm going to answer some questions that undoubtedly have just run through your mind. No, I am not an avid poetry reader, and I don't even really read it. But yes, I have a favorite poem. Yes, I've always wanted to read it as part of a speech. Yes, you are the lucky bunch to get to be part of that. Yes, I consider the poem, and particularly this excerpt, to encapsulate what I learned at St. Augustine and from the sport of swimming. And no, it was not very long. The poem is If by Rudyard Kipling, and the excerpt goes, if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your enemy, if you can meet triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count on you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Thank you, it's an honor.
Emerging from that locker room in the mid-'80s brings back so many memories, and Mark Calda is the source of many of those passionate memories. This gymnasium, Mark, do you remember how packed it was? And the sound of Midnight Express blaring, and you would come rifling through and making sure that everyone knew you were there to play. Mark Calda, perhaps the best high post player in St. Augustine Prep history. This is where he operated. I had the pleasure of being one of the guards on that team, and I think I could speak pretty confidently for all the players to know how comfortable it was when Mark caught the ball here. Perfectly fundamentally sound, always kept the ball high with a velvety touch. That's why he scored 1,000 points for Coach Rodeo. What an honor it was to play with you and to also call you a friend.
You were the third 1,000-point scorer in St. Augustine's history, and you were a great post player for us and able to take your talents to the next level. But more important than that, you have become a friend, a real true friend to the St. Augustine community. And on behalf of the St. Augustine basketball community, I want to say thank you, and most importantly, congratulations.
Congratulations on your induction to the Hermits Athletics Hall of Fame.
Mark Calda, the class of 1988, was the third 1,000-point scorer in St. Augustine Prep history, and he scored 1,092 points in his Hermits career. An incredible post player during his 3-year varsity career, Madge went on to play at Franklin and Marshall. His 1,273 points is still good for 18th on the Diplomat's all-time list. Mark also helped F&M to 3 Mid-Atlantic Conference titles during his college career. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the class of 1988 in the sport of basketball, please welcome Mark Calda.
Before I have some remarks, I want to say something so interesting. My roommate, Franklin Marshall, and Chris Finch, was actually the British Olympic coach in 2012 when Pops and Andrew Sullivan played for him. He is now the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he likes to say, you St. Augustine guys are all wild cards. actually like to say you're all approachable, but I don't believe that. Yeah. I want to thank the members of the Hall of Fame nominating committee for this honor, and congratulations to my fellow inductees. I also want to thank my mother and father. My mother is here tonight. My father passed away in 2009. My parents believed in education, and that education was the best path forward for the children's potential. They also believed in Catholic education. I'm the youngest of 5 kids born in 6 years. Yes, we're very Italian Catholic. And my parents believed in us so much they took the sacrifice to pay tuition all those years. All 5 of us got through Catholic grade school at Sacred Heart and Catholic high school. My 2 sisters at Sacred Heart High School. All 5 of us have finished college. So thank you, Mom, for believing in us. My basketball journey started with my neighbor, Mr. Marks. And some of my Sacred Heart friends remember Bill and Jane Marks. And my father put up a basket in our backyard. That led to countless hours of backyard basketball games in all seasons, weather, and any time of night. Countless hours of my brother, Dr. John Magical, and I played in one-on-one. And there were a couple times where it didn't end in a fist fight. Not a lot, but a couple times it did end in a fist fight. Everyone should have someone in their life to look up to strive, to match, and pass. I was lucky enough to have that in my own family with my sister Angela. My sister Angela was a 2-time All-State basketball player at Sacred Heart, and also a great student, a great leader, and someone who's become wildly successful in a professional career. I also want to thank my CYO coaches for volunteering to coach all that way back when. Frank Louise, Tony Mancini, and Dan Nolan, who coached Sacred Heart at CYO. And I like to joke around that the last time I finished the season with a win, I lost the state championship here in '86, a national championship in '91 at Franklin Marshall. The last time I ended the season with a win was the 1984 Camden Diocesan Championship. So that was it. That's the highlight. After that, it just was all downhill from there. No individual honor is won when you play a team sport without your teammates. And I guess tonight I really want to thank the guys who passed me the ball, because as Coach Rudy will tell you, I rarely pass back. When I got the ball, it went up. I was a black hole. There wasn't a guy that was known for getting a lot of assists. So guys like Tommy Manton, Tom Fabietti, John Magical, Dennis Foreman, Pitt Connor, Steve Fabietti, and even DJ Joe Nichols, DJ Sparkles, Joe Nichols, and Larry Owens, who was here tonight, who actually played for me at F&M. I also want to thank my coaches while I was here. Mr. Carmichael, people forget that he coached basketball for 2 years. Mr. Ike, Coach Cat, Johnny Rodeo, and most importantly, Paul Rodeo. You know, Coach, I'm not sure what I can say that has not already been said about your career and has not already been said tonight, so I'll just simply say thank you. I tell people all the time that I wish I went to school here. And they go, wait, I thought you went to the prep. And I said, yeah, I did, but I didn't go here. I mean, the school I went to was one hallway, no heat, cafeteria food that the Geneva Convention would sue you on. God bless K-1 sold. And the admissions department, the admissions was a pulse and a check. And believe me, the pulse was optional. This place is like a palace compared to the 80s, believe me. Some of us were there at the time. Whereas you remember, Dennis, it was a completely different place than it is now. You know, I've worked in Philadelphia for the last 30 years, and when I got there, no one had ever heard of St. Augustine Prep. Now everyone knows this school. And it's mainly from its athletic reputation. When you beat LaSalle in baseball and Penn Charter and lacrosse, both near where I live, and I work around a lot of their alumni, it's great to be able to stick it to them every once in a while when they brag about their schools. From Coach Rodeo to Mr. Ike and Coach Rizzo, this school has become an athletic powerhouse. And the things, the stats you just gave, like unbelievable, 6th in the state. Although one of my best friends from college went to Bergen Catholic, so we got to start beating them a little bit more and stuff. Because he claims that they're the best in the state, so we got to start getting on them. I had some great teachers while I was here. Mr. Spina, Mr. Carmichael, Mr. Farinaccio, Father Paul. I was very, very prepared for college. The lessons I learned here, the values instilled in me, are still with me some 35 years later. I feel blessed, as a lot of us are, to have had St. Augustine Prep in my life. Again, thank you for this honor. Congratulations to my fellow inductees, and for my mother and my wife, Candy, for being here tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations, Todd, on your induction into the Hermits Athletics Hall of Fame. That's quite an honor for you. I always thought that you were one of the most talented and competitive players I ever had the opportunity to coach.
Todd Davidson, you are one of the few people who was a great athlete and I don't think ever once perspired. How did you do that? You were always neat and clean.
We brought you in to pitch and finish a game for us. The first batter that you face is the same player that the inning before that pulled a bush league stunt on us that the umpire failed to call, and it cost us a run. It was disrespectful to us, and it also disrespected the game, and you weren't having any of that. Without going into detail, you made sure that player paid for his error in judgment.
Todd was a tough kid. He became our closer when he was a junior and senior, and if you could get to the fifth inning, you were pretty confident that Todd would take you the rest of the way in. During Todd's 4 years at the Prep, the baseball program lived on the front pages of the sports section of the Atlantic City Press and the Courier Post.
Hard-nosed, no-nonsense, a team player that had every team member's back. For that reason, you had everyone's respect, players and coaches alike.
This is an extremely well-deserved honor, and I wish to welcome Todd as a member of the St. Augustine Prep Hall of Fame.
Congratulations. It's an honor that's well-deserved. Take care, Todd.
Todd Davidson in the class of 2002 was a do-it-all player. He led the team in hitting and steals, but also was a tremendous infielder and a closer on the hill. He was named first team CAL and All-South Jersey. After his St. Augustine career, he attended the University of Delaware, where he had a .304 batting average with 66 doubles and 143 RBI. He was drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in the 19th round of the 2006 draft, and he has maintained his love of the sport as he serves as a baseball trainer and a devoted coach. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the class of 2002 and the sport of baseball, please welcome Todd Davidson.
Good evening. Very humble tonight to sit here and accept this award. There's so many people in here to thank. This moment is definitely not about me. It's more about the people who got me here, which is the large table sitting in the back. I want to thank my mom for showing me what hard work really is. How to stay with things and never give up. She's been that for me my whole entire life. I love you, Mom. Thank you. My father passed away a few years ago. I don't like to even know how many years ago, but I know today he'd be very proud to see me here and to know, I would like to say thank you from him to the Rodeos, to the Iconellis, to the Rizzos, to the Father Paul Galettos of the world, who really took me in as their own. I feel that every day. I couldn't see you for 20 years, and the next time I saw you, I want to give you a big giant hug and tell you how much you meant to me. Passion, love of sport, love of family, is felt when I walk through these doors, and my father would love to thank you guys for that, and me personally, I would like to thank you for that as well. To the rest of my family, Jose Gonzalez is here. my best friend since I was 8 years old. The reason I came to St. Augustine, I wouldn't have came here if it wasn't for Jose. Jose was my best friend. I looked up to him. He came here. He was a basketball player. I wanted to play basketball for Coach Rodeo. I had no intention of playing baseball. After my first year, I went out and played baseball, and Ike told me he thought I was a good player, maybe I could play. I started as a freshman, and Jose was the reason that I put myself in this situation here to try to figure out what path I wanted to take. Was it baseball, basketball, what it was? So thank you, Jose, for being a great friend, still a great friend. I love you, brother. Thank you. Coming through the prep, I had a lot of other teammates, or some of them are here. Andy Clinton's here. I've played a short time with him. Javi Rodriguez is here. Javi's been a brother to me. He came from Puerto Rico when he was, 12 years old? He came from 12 years old to a prep school. Spoke not a lick of English and graduated, right? Can we just give him one of those? Come on. That's right. And he often argued with the Spanish teacher about what real Spanish was, right? Yeah, remember those thoughts. I love you, Javi. Thank you for being a great friend to me. There's one person that's missing tonight for me, from my crew. There's two people. One, my grandmother, my father's mom, Lori. I'm sure Dennis got sick and tired of looking through all the scrapbooks I gave him, because there was every single moment of my career was documented. I had an own room in her home. Gloria Davison was what a great mom should be. And I loved her. She's no longer with us, but today, I want to tell her that yes, Dennis Foreman was upset with how much paperwork he had to go through to figure out my little thing, because you did a great job, Graham. I love you. The second person is my Aunt Cindy. My Aunt Cindy is the rock of our family. She is what it means to be an aunt. She was great. She was at everything I ever did, whether it was basketball, baseball. It could have just been an art show. She would have been there. She was there for everything. She's recently retired, and she's in California. Nobody deserves it more than her. And I know she's probably watching, so I just want to tell her that I love her and I appreciate her hard work in following my career, because she never missed a beat. Uncle Dave, one of the best uncles I could imagine ever having. Spent more time with me. My family, my support has been what today is all about for me, because I'm long gone and playing, and I owe everything to the people that helped me get here. I love you, Uncle Dave. Thank you for all your support. It means the world to me. I hope that someday I can repay you and do what I can to make you feel the way I feel about you guys. Thank you. Lastly, maybe not lastly, I'm going to be here for a minute, but I want to say thank you to Father Paul Coletto. I know he's here, and it was a big deal to me. He groomed me as a young man, and this place, to go from good to great, you need to take a bunch of good people and put them together, and they need to work well together. And that's what this place is. There's a bunch of great people that agree, and they stay with each other, and they're consistent, and they groom young men when they're at their most vulnerable spot. And Father Paul, I briefly talked to him earlier, and he told me, he said, Todd Davidson, the only thing that will ever get in the way of you is Todd Davidson. And I'll never forget that moment. And I told him that. kids now, Wesley and Paige, both beautiful kids. I couldn't be more proud of them. 8, 9 years old. I hope that someday they can have a similar type of deal with the people that I've been involved with. Because nobody that stands up here today is really who they are unless we have those people. And that's what this is about, the celebration of the great people that have come through this place, and every time I come back I feel the same. I feel loved, I feel welcome, I feel like this is my home. So thank you to everybody, thank you to the committee, thank you to everybody that's here. I'm very humble to accept this. Thank you very much.
I've known Dan Flamma since the 6th grade. We played football together for his father, Sam, and Glassboro Bulldogs. Then we played at the Williamstown Warriors together and won a championship there. How I describe Dan. Dan's tough. Dan's as tough as they come. He made his yards up the middle. He averaged like 4 yards a carry and ran between the tackles. No one really tackled him. It took a group to bring him down. If you needed a yard, you gave the ball to Flamma. You know, he overcame a lot. His freshman year, end of his freshman year, he had broken his back, fractured his vertebrae in his back in the spring of that year. Sophomore year, end of football camp, end of doubles and triples, he had a knee injury that kept him out most of the year. Junior year, he just tore it up. He ran for over 1,000 yards, averaged like 30 carries a game, which is unheard of nowadays, and ran all between the tackles. Senior year, he started the year with 2 broken hands, and was still a fullback carrying the ball and didn't fumble, and still running 4 yards a clip up the middle. Dan is one of a kind. He's a good guy, he's a great teammate, great person, good man. Well deserving of this honor to be in the Hall of Fame. You've earned this award. You're well deserving to be immortalized here in the Hall of Fame at the school. Enjoy it.
Dan Flamma, thank you so much. You were the first person to visit me in the hospital when I was having my heart transplant. And I will never forget that, nor will I forget the great championship you brought to our football team, especially after a last-minute difficult decision that was made with some of the players, and you carried the team with your legs and on your back.
I'm so proud of him. I can't congratulate him enough for being inducted into our Hall of Fame. The brotherhood that they speak about every single day here on campus existed when we were here, and our friendships, you know, not only ours as students, as classmates, as teammates, but our parents and our families were friends, and that really made winning more special. So congratulations, Dan. I'm really proud of you. I'm proud to have been your teammate, and proud to have played alongside of you.
Dan Flamma, the class of 1996, rushed for 2,403 yards in his career, a mark that would stand in the St. Augustine Prep record books until the 2012 season. In his junior season of 1994, he rushed for 1,281 yards, becoming the first 1,000-yard rusher in Hermits history. He followed that with a senior season where he amassed 809 yards and helped the Hermits to the non-public Group 1 state title. In the championship game against St. Mary's of Rutherford, he carried the ball for a team-high 118 yards and 1 touchdown. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the class of 1996 in the sport of football, please welcome Dan Flamma. That's very humbling.
thank you to everybody in this room, because it really is everybody in this room that embodies what St. Augustine Prep is and what the Hermits is all about. I have a few other people that I want to thank. My parents, Sam and Mary. It is with your sacrifice that I am able to stand before all of you today, and your support. My wife, Wendy, and my children, DJ and Darcy, I love you. The rest of my family, who some are here today, my older brother Sam, my sister-in-law, which I will call my sister Julie. You know, I was kind of hoping that I was coming out to Welcome to the Jungle, because before every game, we woke up to Welcome to the Jungle. Literally, that's how I woke up. To my friends that are here, both who were with me as classmates, as well as friends that I've met along the way. My teammates, Phil and Mike, that was beautiful. And Steve, it was with the four of us, and of course the others, that we had the success that we did. I want to thank my coaches, some that are here, Coach Ike. And there's a few others I think that are here. I had a few concussions my senior year, so forgive me if I forget a few names. What really sticks out to me are coaches that are no longer with us. That's Coach Senior, Coach Wayne, Coach Woody, and Coach Subo. Yes, that's what we call them. I want to thank the committee and Dave Cameron, as well as Maria. I really thank Maria for putting up with me, because if I didn't send her 10 emails, I didn't send her one. I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I need to know everything of what's going on. I didn't know everything, that's for sure. There was some really nice stuff that was started there. And lastly, I want to thank the prep. Again, if not for the prep, I wouldn't be standing here today. I feel like my time at the prep is best summed up with the words of being in the right place at the right time. In 1992, my father had the foresight to bring me to Williamstown. There you go. To bring me to Williamstown, where not only did we win a championship that year, but we did it undefeated. But there were two things that really happened from that experience. Number one, we met Coach Warren Wisdom, who recruited me and many others to be a part of the freshman class that coming year. The other thing that happened that year is I met my wife. Now we have two beautiful children. I had a couple of amazing achievements personally and as a team from my time at the prep. I set the single game rushing record against Maple Shade my junior year with 273 yards and 3 touchdowns. I also set the single season rushing record that year with, now my numbers are 1,218 yards, so 1,281, I'll take that, and 14 touchdowns. I also met Father Paul, who was a tremendous influence and ultimately married Wendy and I, as well as my older brother Sam and Julie. We won the state championship in 1995. And who could forget the 6-2 win over Hamilton our junior year? I really wish that Coach Mancetta was here for that. We've had a good time talking about that since it's 9 years now. All of which I say that it was all in the right place at the right time. And I have 3 really short, quick stories for you that will embody that. from a brotherhood to another brotherhood. But in the fall of 1999, we were hosting our rush party for those that wanted to join. And I was talking to a gentleman that wanted to join, and off in the background somebody says, "Hey, Flan." And he looked at me and he goes, "Ooh, what, like Dan Flan?" And I said, "Well, yeah, that's me." Cliff Leary played on the opposite side of the ball that Maple Shade game my junior year. October 12, 2012, Calvin Cass was set to break my record. And he did. During that game, there were a few women standing next to me, and they were talking about the record. They were trying to figure out what the number was. And I threw a few numbers out there, and I leaned in and I said, "It's 1,218. And one woman looks at me and she goes, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "Because I'm him." That woman was Calvin's mother. I would say it was at the right place at the right time. And lastly, it was right around now, it was March 2019, I'm in the airport. And I get a phone call from Don King, whose sons, Kurt and Brad, went to the prep. And he says, "Dan, I have some news that Father Paul is not well. He needs a heart." Well, I was really taken back. And I said, "Okay, well, do you know where he's at?" He said, "He's in Chicago." I said, "Don, I'm in the airport right now, on the way to Chicago." After I landed, I got on the phone and I started calling hospitals. Second call, I found Father Paul. Went to the hotel, got my bags, jumped in an Uber, went right to the hospital. I get there, I woke up to the front desk and I said, "I'm here to see Father Paul." She looks it up, she goes, "Yep, she's up on the 3rd floor. Here's a pass." He was in the ICU. So I'm going up the elevator, fully expecting not being able to get in. I walk through, I get walking in and around, found a room, walk right up. I see him in the back now. As I saw him through the window of the door, and he looked at me and he said, "Holy, it's Dan Flan." So he motioned me in, I walked in, he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Father Paul, that's a better question, not for you, but for the man upstairs." Of course, we know the outcome. He got his heart. And he's here today. Once again, I say, he was in the right place at the right time. As I stand here before you today, I truly believe that I am still at the right place at the right time. And I looked that up, Googled that, of course, and what popped up, and what I believe truly now today, isn't this all very serendipitous? Thank you very much.
So we're honored here today to induct Andy into the St. Augustine Prep Hall of Fame.
Congratulations, Andy. This is going to be an exciting night, and we got a few words to share.
So Kevin and I have been friends with Andy since we were 6 years old, 6, 7 years old, grew up in Washington Township together, and playing sports with him forever. He's been such an intimidating force. So we're thrilled to be his friends.
And share what it takes to become a Division I college athlete.
Andy Kalinsky, what a great athlete you were, and so proud, even though you dated my niece. So maybe your wife doesn't know that. I'm sorry about that, but it was a pleasure to have you here at school. I see Matt Laquette all the time, and we always talk about you, and mostly it's good.
You mentioned how he was an intimidating figure on the field, so I brought some pictures growing up that we can take a look at.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, this one, like, look at this, right?
First of all, you can take care of the physique. I'm just curious about the purple and turquoise shorts that he's wearing.
Well, for me, it's like, look, the leader, he's out in front of the pack, right? Everybody else is behind him.
Not sure who's going to follow though.
You know, he's an alpha male in this picture. This one, classic after, you know, I think we're 12 here, after a bad game, he's sitting up on the fence, perched up high, just mad at the world.
I know we're here to talk about Andy, but look at the guy in the cap. I believe that's you. What kind of look is that?
Yeah, I think I'm probably looking at my mom being like, this is not going well right here.
And that looks like a Coach Orlando up in the right corner?
Yeah, so he even knows, like, this
I'm
staying away from this.
Sure.
This is a mess.
D1 athlete right there. I know we're here to celebrate his soccer career, but he was a great baseball player too.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, batting glove, top hand.
He's ready to go. He's ready to go. He had an option to just play baseball or soccer. He could have gone either way.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to hit a home run or he's going to go to the bathroom. One or the other. Andy and I have been friends since we were 6 years old and still really close today. So I'm really thrilled to be able to do this for him today. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Andrew Kalinsky of the class of 2000 is one of only 8 Hermits to score 50 goals in his high school career. His 55 goals include 29 in his junior campaign and 19 in his senior year, including a hat trick in the 1999 South Jersey final against rival Wildwood Catholic. That win took the team to their first appearance in the state final in 6 years. He would continue his career at that amazing institution of higher learning, St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, where he scored 20 goals and is the school's all-time leader in assists with 21. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the class of 2000 in the sport of soccer, please welcome Andrew Kalinsky.
Friends like that. Quickly, I'd like to I don't want to forget some other very important faculty and coaches that played a large part in my career. Coach Les Hagan, Coach Iconelli, Coach Rodeo. The guidance that they provided me during my career and the brotherhood and mentorship that they showed to me is something that I can never repay. And I'm certainly grateful for everything that you've done for me, so thank you. Lastly, my teammates, the class of 2000, some of which are here tonight, my good friends Anthony and Kevin, and the wonderful overview that they did this evening. The bonds and the friendship and the brotherhood that we developed in our 4 years here are things that I will cherish forever. You will be in my life forever and my friends forever. And I'm eternally grateful for that bond. Lastly, as a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid, you hear words like brotherhood and Christian gentleman. And honestly, they're just words, right? And they're hard to process at that point. But for me, those are things that guided me in a time in my life that was very challenging and got me through some very difficult times. And what St. Augustine stands for and that brotherhood are things that I can never repay. And I am truly honored and grateful to be a part of that brotherhood today. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. And thank you for allowing me to be an alumni of St. Augustine and now a member of the Hall of Fame. Eternally grateful. Thank you.
So there have been 5 teams inducted into our Hermits Hall of Fame over the years. The 1974 cross-country team, the 1978 cross-country team, the 1982 basketball team, the 1995 football team, and last year the 2007 ice hockey team. And with all those great teams and state championships that you see up on the board there that the school has amassed, there are some tough decisions when it comes down to deciding which team comes into this Hall of Fame. And this year when the committees got up there, we had a lot of great teams to look into and a lot of great deserving teams that will be up here someday. But ultimately we decided on a program-changing team, and that was the 1991 Hermits soccer team.
I also want to congratulate the 1991 state championship soccer team. You put us on the map. The previous championships had been won by the cross-country team and by the basketball team, but the 1991 state championship in soccer started a tradition of winners and champions here in Richland. And with Matt Miles, Justin Abbey, Mike McGinnis, Aaron Mace, and Coach Mace, who I think was here for 2 years, right after Masucci and before Coach Hagan, you guys really set the tone for greatness, and I can't thank you enough for doing that.
The first St. Augustine soccer team to win the state championship, they went 21-1 for the season, defeating Bishop Eustace 3-2 in the South Jersey Championship, avenging their only loss of the season, and Pingree 2-1 in the non-public B championship to secure that first title. Of the 850 goal scorers in the Hermits soccer history, 4 of them played on this team. Senior Aaron Mace, juniors Matt Miles and Justin Abbey, sophomore Mario Monfordini. Led by junior goalkeeper Mike McGinnis' 15 clean sheets, the team's 0.434 goals against average is still 4th stingiest in the school's history, and their defense was led by stalwarts like Matt Clark, Brian Carroll, and Sean Mahoney, to name a few. So now let me introduce the members of that team that are here and ask them to come up. First, from the class of 1994, Mario Monfordini, Dan Ardito, Sean Johnson. From the class of 1993, Justin Abbey, Brian Carroll, Fred Knight, Chuck Cumming, Angelo Torigno, Josh Waterhouse, Sean Mahoney, Matt Miles, and Jim McGinnis, father of Mike McGinnis from the class of 93. And also, representing Aaron Mace, the class of 92, his father and coach of the 92 of the team, Coach Peter Mace. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1991 Hermits soccer team. So I just was informed I'm missing up Dockery. I didn't realize that Nick was here, so thank you for the luck. And speaking for the team, Coach Peter Mace.
Given the rich history of athletic excellence at this school, this is really an amazing honor for us. I just want to thank all the parents and people that came before me to help teach these kids how to play. It made my job a whole lot easier. And most of all, I want to thank these guys who did everything I asked them to do, and I asked a lot. So they always talk about how hard I drove them, but I had to because we were looking for something really special, and we attained it. These guys even went on to do it again. So they're a special bunch of guys who are doing very well in life and did great here at school, and I thank them, and I thank all of you for this honor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1991 Hermits State Champions in soccer. And now, as we prepare for our last presentation evening, I'm going to have Coach Radio come up as we get ready to honor our coach inductee.
My question for Ray D'Amico is, do you realize how blessed we are to have you as a coach? You brought the mission of St. Augustine Prep into the boat.
Congrats, Coach D'Amico, on making the Hall of Fame. From Lake Menifee to the Schuylkill, I can't thank you enough for all you've done for me, not just as a rowing coach, but as a life coach. What an incredible achievement. Go Hermits!
Coach D'Amico, congratulations on being inducted to the 2023 St. Augustine Prep Hall of Fame. I cannot think of a better candidate for this award, not because of the wins, not because of the state championships, not because of the Stotesbury wins, not because of the number of kids that you got into tremendous schools, but for the character and leadership that you expressed to us and through us from the time that you were coaching.
Dad, you have showed us the true traits: hard work, dedication, preparation, and most importantly, faith. Not only making you a great rower, but a great man.
When I was growing up, I remember if I wanted to see my dad, I needed to be at the boathouse or the race course. We followed him everywhere. You showed me what a true partner does to sacrifice for the well-being of their family.
My four boys had the privilege of rowing for Coach D'Amico all 4 years at St. Augustine. They actually started rowing for him at Chicken Dippers in Ventnor, where he influenced hundreds of, probably thousands of area kids to get into the sport of rowing. For my family, it's been a godsend. My kids loved crew. They rowed into college. 3 of them coached beyond college. Several are still coaching. The influence that Ray has had on my family has been tremendous.
What Ray was able to do was to take a team and create a program. And the way that he accomplished this is by establishing a culture that represents the best aspects and values of all the things that has been stressed and taught in prep classrooms and in the prep hallways and on the athletic fields since 1959.
People go to Ray for advice and direction. Any challenging issues, any sensitive issues, Ray is the voice of reason.
I cannot thank you enough for who you are as a person and the values that you've instilled in us. Thank you again, and congratulations on this tremendous honor.
In a building with a lot of egos, Ray kind of stands alone. It is certainly well past time that Ray D'Amico become a member of the Hall of Fame.
Thank you for sharing your go big or go home mentality with me personally, and for welcoming our family to be part of your crew family back in 2014. And wait a minute, tonight, as you're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, we thought we'd get you a little gift because we know just how much you love the cowbell. So we went out and we found the biggest and loudest one we could find you, Coach. Congrats on your induction tonight. You deserve it, and we are so proud of you.
Mom, behind every great man is an even greater woman. You are just as responsible for this award. Congratulations, Dad. And most of all, congratulations, Mom.
In addition to numerous state titles, Stokesbury Cups, and other wins in the Hermits rowing is achieved under Coach D'Amico's leadership. He was named the Schuylkill Native 2015 Coach of the Year. He was the Atlantic City Press Coach of the Year 8 times, until I think they got tired of giving him the award. He is a board member and treasurer of the Viking Rowing Club, and served 20 years as a board member of the Crescent Boat Club in Philadelphia. He is the coach liaison to the board for the South Jersey Rowing Association, and is widely known in the rowing community as the most respected coach and ambassador for the sport. And we are so lucky to have him here at St. Augustine. First, presenting him with a special presentation is a member of the current Hermits crew program, Matteo Barberio.
As said in the video, this cowbell we are presenting to Coach D'Amico represents the entire crew community's appreciation. Parents, coaches, current rowers, past and present, that we have with Coach D'Amico. So we thank Coach D'Amico for the impact he has brought in so many people's lives, and we thank him for all the joy and memories he has brought to so many people. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for induction into the St. Augustine Hall of Fame, the recipient of the Paul A. Rodeo Excellence in Coaching Honor, Coach Ray D'Amico.
Well, I hate cowbells. I think the most annoying things on the river is cowbells, but I'll treasure this one. Who, as I told Father Murray earlier today, who would have thought that I'd be up here after 23 years? Ultimately, I have to thank the committee for nominating me and electing me. And I think it was unanimous. Was it not unanimous? Unanimous. I love that word, unanimous. Doesn't happen much anymore. Maybe in the history department, but not anymore. Is it too early for that? I'm also honored to be inducted with this class of 23. I've seen these guys come up here They just blow me away. Some guys I knew, some guys I didn't know, but just great men. And then the voice of the Hermit, Father Horner, I always loved and respected. He had the office next to my classroom, so some of the things he heard in there, thank you, Father, for not sharing that with other people. Was Father Paul here today? Rumor has it he's here. When I first got out of it, I really struggled. And I had the nerve to go up to Father Paul, and I said, Father Paul, I am going to be your best hire ever. And he didn't laugh at me. So thank you, Father Paul, for that. But he did look at me like, what are you talking about? But I knew it because I had the passion. And I knew it because I was put in this job 23 years ago because there was a calling. You know, my history here is I was a casino executive. And I was very successful and I was doing great. And I got a phone call from Coach Ike's secretary, Terry Tabasso, who I love dearly. She's my mother's goddaughter. And she said something weird to me on the phone. She said, "You're my coach." Now at the time I was coaching the Chicken Dippers and our son was on the Chicken Dipper Pro. I said, "Yeah, I know." No, she goes, "No, you're my coach. You got to come out here and talk to Coach Ike." So I had respect for Terry Tabasso, and that was it. I hopped in the car and I came out here. And I met Coach Ike. And I saw the school, and I hung out for a couple hours. And the seed was planted. And I started thinking, maybe I can do this. Because I always wanted to be a coach and a teacher. I was teaching at college at the time. I was a CPA. I was 2 steps away from being a COO of one of the casinos. And then I came back and I took my wife Janice and we interviewed with Father Paul. I interviewed with Father Paul and he saw my resume. I had other talents I could bring to the school. And we went and visited the boathouse and it was a mess. It was a tent on the river. It was horrible. The boat, it was a disaster. I'm like, what am I? This is bad. And I'm driving home, and Janice looks at me. Am I going to be wife of the crew coach? And I said, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor. And I waited a second, and she smiled, and to me that was a yes. And then I called Father Paul, and I took the job. And I'll tell you what, I'm so grateful for everybody here. I am so much richer in my life because of you guys. I was going to cry. Really, I wasn't. So, the first person I have to thank is my wife. Janice, you can stand up. You should come up here with me. My wife's a national champion in boxing, you know. And she knew what the sacrifice was going to be for me to be a crew coach. Because crew is unlike any other sport. It's a 24-month sport. Is it 24 months or 12? I don't know. In crew, it seems like 24 months, especially after a day like today. And she said yes. And she was always behind me. And she was my biggest supporter. And when we did well, she was my biggest critic. I'd go home and she would bring me down. And when we didn't do well, she would bring me up. And she was always there. And I spent a lot of time because I had to build something. And you're right, I had to build something here. I was a Chicken Dipper coach in the summer. And I was hearing the rumors about high school rowing, and it wasn't good. There was a lot of hate rowing going on. There was a lot of, when I came in, there was fist fights at the regattas, and one of my guys got beat up, and I didn't want that. Because to me, rowing is all about love. It's about love of the sport and love of going fast. And I wanted to bring that to the boys boys that you can do this and you can compete, but you could love your enemy. Crew is one of those sports you don't have any defense. So your only defense is to be better than the other guys. And so that's why when I took the job, I really had a goal of doing that. I want to thank my boys, and I'll get to you really later, but both of them rode for me. But I especially want to thank my daughter, Victoria. Victoria, give her a clap, please. Because when I was spending all those hours, 12 hours a day, 20 hours on the weekend, I kind of lost, I took the eye off the ball on my daughter. And she wasn't able to come here and be with me, like as Matthew said. If you wanted to be with Dad, you had to go to the boathouse, or you had to go to the regattas. We traveled all over. I rowed. And one of my great rowing mates, Dave Reagan's here. We won the national championship in the pair. Yo, Dave, yeah. And I just want to say, Victoria, I kind of apologize to you, but thank you so much for the sacrifice that you gave. And I'm going to make it up to you, and I've been making it up to you, because I really do love you. There's so much, like everybody up here, there's so much to thank, right? When I first took the job, I mean, I'll get to that. The administration here, Coach Ike and Father Paul, I don't know what you were thinking hiring me. I had no experience. They took a shot at me. You know, kid from Ducktown, Atlantic City. And I don't know, because I got beat up bad. The first couple of years, I still have the scars. I think Todd Davis gave me a couple scars. A couple of these guys, when they were up, I'm like, oh man, that's trouble. The stuff they used to do to me, they stuck with me. And I think it was like the second year, and that's when I said to Father, I'm going to be your best hire. I knew it. I knew it in my heart. The second administration was Dennis Foreman, the AD, and Father Riley. That was kind of like our golden years. We really had some great athletes. I really want to thank them for supporting us. And then this administration with Father Mary and Coach Rizzo is the best AD in South Jersey, and probably the world. And here's the deal. You want to get along with Coach Riz? You treat the kids right. You be fair to the children. And he's got your back. And that, we've always been on the same page on that. So thank you so much. The other group I really have to thank, and this is weird because when I go around talking to other coaches, all they do is complain about their parents. I love my parents. I love them. They are awesome. We changed the culture, not only the crew team here, but the culture in the league. We invented the 10 Maha. These guys were unbelievable. And the moms who helped me with the communication, because I'm not the great communicator, who stuck with me. But the dads who cooked every day, even today, it was brutal out there. One of my most proudest moments was last year at the Cities. It was the hardest day ever. They had camps for regatta, wind was blowing 40 miles an hour, rainy, cold, and there's our parents cooking breakfast sandwiches, and nobody else. And I said to myself, I'm so proud of these guys. Yeah. And what the parents have done for this organization, for the crew team, and I'll tell you, the first time I met the parents, and Mr. Fama took the words out of my mouth. You know what I said to him? I said, I'm in the right place, at the right time, with the right army, in the right war. And that was 23 years ago. I stole that from Patton. And I meant it. And our parents are the best. And they enriched our lives, have they not, Janice? They become dear friends and people I really, really admire and respect. And so I want to thank you, parents, the Parents Association, the best in the league. And thank you so much. Thank you. The next group is my coaches. I'm going to steal, where's Coach Rodier? I'm going to steal one of Coach Rodier's lines. You surround yourself with great people, right? Successful people, you become successful. And I always try to do that. And some of my great coaches, like Coach Joe McGuire, who was here before I was here and stayed with me, who carried a lot of the weight for me. And now he's the head coach of Stockton University men's crew. Joe, thank you so much. I got Brian Duffy here in the past, who coached our lightweight 8 to that undefeated season where we won the Stokes in the Nationals. And not only did we win the Stokes Trophy, we were the fastest crew of the day. And Brian, thank you for being here. He was a tremendous coach. And then I hired a women's coach. Who's a wonderful, wonderful mother right now, but she was a great coach. Jolene Tiz. And she's here today. Her brother is Ralph, played hockey for us. And then I have my coaching staff now. And I've got Zach's here, and I got my mentor. And if you want a good book, he just wrote a book on rowing. If you want a good book, you can get a pre-release copy before it hits the bestseller list. Larry Kahn, Louis Zulli, Mark's here. And even one of my parents' side coaches, Sue Peterson, she's here. Thank you, Sue. I have so many coaches. What I'm really proud of is a lot of my coaches want to be head coaches, just like Coach Rodeo. A lot of my brothers become coaches, and they're doing it the right way. And that's what makes me proud. The next group is the most important, and that's the guys who toiled for me, the rowers, and that includes my 2 sons. Rowing is not an easy sport. It's a very difficult sport. You got to deal with the weather more than the other sport. We train all year round. We row in the summer. We do fall crew in the fall, so I try to get them recruited to colleges. We do winter training, which is horribly hard. And then we race in the spring, and then we do it all over again. I've been doing this for 23 years, and I'm watching these guys grow and get big and strong. And I can't mention all the oarsmen. There's so many, and I'm so much proud of them and respect them. Anybody who takes up the oar, I respect automatically, because it's not an easy sport. And these guys embraced it. My son, Matt, is a tremendous oarsman. And my son, RJ, who's a tremendous athlete who rode in the varsity. Matt never made it, but RJ did. Got a good shot there. So, no coach is any good without his athletes. As my old saying is, you can't make chicken salad without chicken. It just doesn't work. I got a lot of sayings that I can't say up here. It's inappropriate. But when I think about my athletes, that's what really gets me. Because that's the deep love I have. I love the guys. You know what, coaches? You should tell your athletes you love them. You should tell young men that they're loved. And they need to hear it. Because there's a tough world out for them. And they need to know that they're loved and they're respected. And I respect and love my athletes. I really do. I've been here 23 years. And I've been treated well here. Very professional. But I never really felt like I belonged. poor kid from Atlantic City. I never had the means to come to this school. I wasn't really a good student in high school. But today, right now, for the first time in my life, I know what it is to be a hermit. I know what it is to be a brother. And I want to thank you all for that. I'm done.
Great way to wrap it up, really, with Coach D'Amico. Everyone, before we go, as I mentioned earlier, all the recipients tonight, we'd like to have everyone come up for some photos here at the end. And just a couple things before we go. Again, thank you to the advancement department, the advancement staff for putting this together, the Hall of Fame committee for doing this. As I mentioned in the beginning, I'll be looking forward to next year's. Tomorrow probably as we look forward to it, but just know that there are a lot of great athletes to become part of this Hall of Fame. If you know them, send them to us, nominate the new ones. Everyone, thank you for being here tonight, and go Hermits.